Hey everybody, it's Hussein Kabani, your favorite broker. And right now, I want to tell you guys a little story about how I'm not a salesperson. That's what I tell people. I'm not really a salesperson, but I feel like I'm more of a marketing person than a salesperson. I feel like I'm a marketing person and a contract negotiator. And this is why. Basically, we have a listing, and believe me, if you know me, I take all of my listings, my business very personally. So if it doesn't sell, it's me personally. It's not my business that's hurt. It's me personally that's hurt about it. But we had this listing in Pickering for a condominium. Really nice condominium, like 950 square feet, a full wraparound balcony, 225 square feet, like really unheard of. Tandem parking, huge locker downstairs. One downside, if you want to call it, was on the third floor. So people didn't really like the view of the whole thing, but they liked the unit itself. The issue I had with this is that I feel like we priced it very competitively based on what has sold by price per square foot, and was very reasonable for what we were asking for this unit. But at the same time, what we were dealing with is that obviously you guys know that condo inventory has increased, and that's no different for areas like Pickering. Basically in Pickering, we had this new big development that is starting to close now, which is part of the Universal City project. So building 3 was closing at the same time where we were putting this house on the market, or this condo on the market. And what ended up happening is that this building actually started to sell, or was selling in 2019. I know this because we sold a bunch of units into that building, okay? And now guess what? Fast forward to 2025, when this building's coming up to close, the circumstances are completely different. People that had the idea of buying this on paper, thinking it's gonna appreciate by the time it comes to closing, didn't work out. They thought that the interest rates were gonna stay super low forever, didn't work out. They thought rents were gonna stay this high, didn't work out. And guess what? Especially when you have a building that's closing, you typically have a bunch of investors. And what ends up happening over there? Now in this scenario, people start to dump the units because they can't afford it. The situation's completely different. Okay, fine, they barely afford to get a mortgage on it. Now they need to sell it. So guess what? With that desperation, the prices start to come down on these things as well. And guess what? If you're going to rent, and anywhere that's getting occupancy and that's closing a building altogether, the renting game over there is the race to the bottom. So if a unit there is renting at $2,500 on average, I tell my clients straight up, let's list at 23, because that's going right to 21. So let's go to 23, cut everybody off, cut the noise, get this thing rented out before it goes to 21. Because you go to 25, then 24, 23, 21, you're screwed. Like, you've already lost 3-4 months in terms of like collecting rent for this thing. And especially guys, if you're like the landlord of this place, remember that if you're not in a rent control building, you have a little bit better off. So November 15, 2018 and afterwards, you're not in a rent control. So even if you rent it out for cheaper right now, because you need to get a body in there, if you want to bring it back up to market price, if you rent it out for 23, everything starts to go for 27 in the next 2 years, well, guess what? You could talk to your tenant, come up with a plan to get it back up to market rent if that's feasible for them, or you guys can come up with some kind of a solution, but that's well within your right. Don't want to get too sidetracked, but the point is that, look, when we had this condo on the market, we were competing with another 50, 60 listings in the market. I'm not talking across Pickering, I'm talking about 2 blocks away. Like, you really had so much inventory, so much noise to deal with, especially in a market where we overall have a lot of inventory and buyers have a mentality that they're gonna lowball and get everything for dirt cheap. It's a really competitive spot to be playing in. Now, we tried listing it at a normal price, then we try to go at an offer presentation price, then we listed it back at a lower expectation, then we try to do another multiple offer situation, then we listed it back at a normal price. All of these gimmicks just didn't work. It got more showings into the place, but it just didn't work. At the end of the day, we had to figure out, like, how are we actually gonna sell this unit, okay? And what I had to do and we do this a lot, is I had to leverage my whole team. So I've got Ima, who's like, aware about what's going on in the industry. She's creative. Bucker has a lot of experience in the real estate industry, so he's worked with a lot of buyers and sellers, so he understands what these people are kind of looking for, especially in this type of a market. Then I got Chris, who manages our marketing and our social media. I got Dixit, who takes all of our media for our listings and stuff like that. I had to leverage all of these people to basically say, hey guys, like, what are we gonna do? I remember being on phone conversations with each one of these people for over an hour, sometimes even more. With Chris, I kept him on the phone for like 2 hours and saying, we can't get off of this call until we have a concrete solution on how to move this thing forward. And you know what? It turned out that it proved to me that I have the right team behind me, because I think we came up with an exceptional idea on how to move this thing forward. What we ultimately decided to do is say, hey, not just find the solution for it, but understand the psychology of how it's actually going to work. So first we dealt with the psychology of the buyer agent, okay? What's going through this buyer agent's mind right now? Okay, they have a buyer. The buyer wants to buy something. Everything's looking the same. There's so many options. My buyer's confused. Like they want to get a great deal on something, but no one's willing to budge. Like, what am I going to do over here? How can I show them value? So we understood that there's something tangible that I needed to put inside of their hand to say, hey, here it is. Here's your piece to go back to your guys with. So that was a really cool thing that came out of our conversation. We figured out that we need to have something tangible for the agent to go back to the client and easily explain what the value proposition is. The other thing we had to think about is that how is this going to be perceived by the buyer? How can the buyer understand this and recognize immediately, wow, okay, that's different. Somebody's doing something different. This is a great deal. This is going to help me out. Boom. What did we come up with? Well, we're thinking about all the strategies of what we can do. And we pulled an idea, okay, and repackaged it. The idea was from new construction sales, okay, new condo sales. New condo sales, when they're desperate, they are trying to give you anything to move in. Rental guarantee for 2 years, free maintenance, free property tax, free everything. Then I said, okay, you know what? No one's doing that here right now. I'm sure I'm getting copied right now, but basically what we decided was that, hey, we're going to cover 1 year of maintenance fee for somebody. And at least that's something tangible the agent can take to their client and say, hey, this condo, no one else is doing this. This condo is basically saying, we're going to cover your maintenance fee for 1 year. The client understands that too. Okay, the condo fee was, I think, around $625, $650. Wow, that's every single month for 12 months. I don't have to pay that. It's already painful enough to get into a property, but for a whole year, I don't have to worry about that. See, that was a very tangible idea that somebody could actually run with. And what do we do with that? We actually got Dixit involved with this at the same time, who does all of our videos and stuff like that. Not this one, Chris does this stuff, but all of our house tours, pictures and stuff like that. So Dixit takes care of that. And he basically came up with a very good video idea and we ran with it. And then we had Chris on our marketing side basically promote this correctly across our social media. We spent a bunch of money on marketing this, but what ended up happening? Just off of Instagram, with the connections that Chris has to collaborate with other people and get our posts shared with other people, we create a bunch of interest for this property. We had more than 60,000 views on this thing. We had so many sends, and all of this happened within about a week or 10 days. This was very well planned out, and in my opinion, very well executed, because what ended up happening, some potential buyers saw this reel on Instagram. They sent it to their parents' realtor and said, hey, like, we're looking for a condo. This place looks great. And how does this free condo maintenance thing work? Like, what's that all about? So I know this realtor actually, he called me up and said, Hussein, what are you guys doing with this thing? Like, this is pretty cool. And I explained to him what we're doing. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go show this tomorrow. I think I can get you an offer. Boom. He went, he showed it. And there's the proof. He told me they saw this from a reel. And guess what? In the agreement, they actually wrote down that they wanted the 1 year maintenance paid up front. So we knew that this strategy worked. So my point of telling you guys all of this in detail is this. I think in this market over here, this is not a market where you just randomly list something and put it on and pray that somebody's going to come in and buy your place. You have to take action. You have to figure out that, okay, this is not working, this is not working. What am I going to do next? And you have to always be ahead of this and trying to figure out what untapped potential there is in the market to occupy someone's brain. So I think this is how it's going to work with all of our listings. We're always looking at it and saying, okay, we're always collecting the data. Okay, we have the showing feedback. We have the number of agents that went in. We know the feedback that we're getting from the open houses. And then we're taking all of this information and we're like looking at it all and saying, okay, how do we take all of these comments and how do we turn this back around to come up with some kind of a marketing position that people can understand and buy into? So this is what we're doing across the board with all of our listings. We're trying to evaluate the information that we're getting and coming up with the creative pitch on how to get these listings sold. And this is just something that we have to do in this marketplace. And it's something that's actually fun when we get to actually working with it. The tough part is, honestly, on my side, about spending all of this money. Like, this video costs money, the marketing spends cost money and whatever else like that. But at the end of the day, it's worth it because we're getting real good results for our clients and they're very happy with the results. When you got 60 units just sitting there and we're sold, it's a great feeling, not only for me, but for our clients as well. So if you have been on the market, okay, and you guys haven't been able to sell and you're discouraged about the market, like it didn't work out for you, I encourage you guys to give me a call. You don't have to list with me, but let's take a look at what you've done so far. Let's look at your house and let's figure out is there a different way that we can actually approach this in your marketplace. I'd be more than happy to get on a 15-minute call with you, discuss your specific scenario. I'm more than happy, I've got a car, I'm more than happy to drive over to your house and take a look at it in person and give you my feedback in person at the same time. no obligations. There's going to be a link to my calendar below. Click on it. Let's have a quick chat about how we can actually market your property, not just put it on MLS and pray that someone comes in with an offer. Creating this video and actually putting it out there, you kind of get a little bit nervous sometimes about, hey, how are people going to perceive what is going on over here? But at the end of the day, what are we trying to do? We're trying to get your attention. So whether I got a ton, I want to say maybe 80% or 90% of my comments were all positive, but maybe 10 or 20% of them were negative comments. People were saying like, do you understand the meaning of free maintenance? It's not just for the first year. There was somebody that said, oh, they're doing this gimmick because the seller overpriced the listing. There was so much of this, not so much, but some of this negative feedback at the same time. But guess what, guys? I got you. I got your attention. This is all it was for. And that 10 or 20% of the people that had the negative things to say, they're not our buyers anyways, right? But the 80% that saw this and resonated with it, guess what? It landed a deal for us at the end of the day. So I think that we are going to take a different approach moving forward on these things as well. And we're going to take a bigger risk in marketing because that's what you need to do to stand out. If you do the same thing that everyone else is doing in the market right now, guess what? You're going to get the same result. You're going to sit on the market and get a sub price for your property. And that's not what we want to try to do. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys have any feedback about, the marketing strategy or what you guys are seeing other people do in the market to attract attention besides just putting a crazy low price, let us know. More than happy to hear it and curious about what you guys are seeing in the market. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and please share this with your friends and family. Until next time, guys, remember one thing, get Cabani, get sold.
Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold.